Hi, and welcome to the Alex and John Show. I'm Alex.
And I'm John.
Today's topics are conspiracy theories,
Let's talk about sports.
Generation Z.
The best of the Premier League.
So I suppose, John, let's just start talking about sports.
The first question we have for Let's Talk About Sports is how can you benefit from playing sport?
You can benefit from playing sport because you can get fitter and healthier physically and mentally.
Interesting answer. The next question we have is how do the benefits between solo sports and team sports differ?
With solo sports, you're constantly competing against yourself, and since it's on your own, you have a chance to clear your head. Whereas with a team, you are building many skills, including teamwork, and there's a chance to meet new people.
Very interesting indeed. The next question we have is why choose contact sports over non-contact sports?
Because it's good to give someone a kick during the match.
Interesting. The next question is would you call all contact sports violent?
I would not call full contact sports violent because there's rules and you wear protective gear.
Interesting. The last question we have for Let's Talk About Sports is how are women treated differently to men in sports in general?
Women have always been treated differently. It's only in recent times that it's becoming more equal within sports, but men are still paid when women aren't, and they get a lot more from it than women can.
I agree. So we're going to move on to our next segment, which is going to be US conspiracy theories with Alex.
Right. Hi, guys. So what will be your first conspiracy theory?
Our first conspiracy theory is that 9/11 was an inside job.
And why do you think it was an inside job?
I think it was an inside job because I think America wanted to start a war on Iraq for oil.
So were the Al-Qaeda hired by the US government?
I think so, because to do their dirty work for them and to start the war in Iraq.
So could the fuel from the plane melt the steel beam supporting the building?
It wouldn't melt the steel beams, but it would weaken them, causing the building to collapse.
So the next conspiracy theory that they're talking about today is JFK. So where do you think the third bullet went to?
Another theory is that the bullet went into a traffic light.
And why was Oswald shot?
I think he was shot because he was going to rat on the US government.
And was it CIA or Russia?
Russia.
And why?
Because they don't like JFK.
Well, thank you for those conspiracy theories. We're now up to John now. Back to John. What's coming up, John?
Next segment is going to be the best of the Premier League. So the first question we have is who's going to win the Premier League this year?
Personally, I think Man United will win the Premier League.
Why?
I think they'll buy enough good players in the January transfer window to see them out to win the league.
The next question that comes up is who is the best player in the Premier League?
I think Eden Hazard is the best player in the Premier League.
Why?
He's top goal scorer at the moment.
Next question is who is the best keeper in the Premier League?
I think De Gea is the best keeper in the Premier League.
Why?
Because he's won Premier League goalie of the year the last 3 years.
Interesting. The next and final question for this topic will be who is the top goal scorer in the Premier League?
I think Aguero is going to finish top goal scorer in the Premier League this season.
Interesting. So that's all the questions for the best of the Premier League.
So to our final topic of today, Generation Z. So welcome, guys. Where does the mental health issues originate from? Where do they come from?
Well, we need to take into account that our generation, Generation Z, is the guinea pig generation of the technological era. We're the first generation to grow up using iPads and the internet, which has given us access to social media. Now, social media can be a positive thing, using your voice and self-expression to build people up, but it's also being used to tear people down. Social media has been linked with depression and anxiety rates in our generation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, Aoife, how do the academic pressures on students cause the spike in mental health issues?
A lot of this anxiety has been linked to the pressure students face in school. Students believe that it is impossible for them to achieve good grades, get enough sleep and have a social life. Not only do students have to face the pressure to excel in exams, which are nothing more than memory games, they also face a fierce pressure to fit in and be popular.
No, I totally agree with your point. Clara, what causes more pressure on students today and teens? It's social media or academic pressures?
Personally, I think social media causes more pressure than academic, because on social media you have to create a fake image of yourself and then project it onto the world. I do think academic has many pressures because you have to work hard to keep good grades, but I think social media has more because it can ruin your self-confidence and self-esteem because you have to live up to ridiculously high standards.
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So what is the solution to the problem?
Look, in my opinion, the solution is not to use social media in a negative way, but in a positive way. Use the platform and the voice it's giving us as empowerment to build each other up instead of tearing it down. Let us be a platform where we speak out openly about the pressures our generation faces, from social media to mental health. Like, social media could be more empowering and it could help our generation.
So a final word that you would use just to wrap up what you've said.
Strengthen.
Positivity.
Empowerment.
Well, that's it. End of the topic.
Well, that's all, folks, that we have for today. This has been Alex and John. This is live at Maynooth Post Primary.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Hello, I'm Fergal.
And I'm Matthew.
Welcome to the Fergal and Matchy Show.
So today we have 4 different segments. We're going to start off with social media and how it affects your self-esteem.
Let's go over to Faye and Katie.
What do you think are the pros and cons of social media, and does one outweigh the other?
There are many different pros to social media. One of the major pros, in my opinion, is how social media is good for communication. Social media helps people to stay in touch with their friends, even when they're not near them. Social media can also be good when it comes to promoting a business. Businesses have a free marketing tool with social media where they are able to expand their business.
They are good points. What about the cons?
There are also many cons when it comes to social media. People can easily become obsessed with the amount of followers and likes that they have. Many people's follower count is not an accurate representation of the amount of friends that they have in real life. Social media is also proven to lower people's self-esteem. There are also other issues with social media, such as cyberbullying. Young people are becoming addicted to social media and they'd rather sit at home on their phone rather than socialising with their friends. I think there are an equal amount of pros and cons to social media.
Dara and Patrick, how do you feel social media affects young people?
On social media, people portray a seemingly perfect lifestyle. Everyone tries to look perfect, only posting the photos where they look the best. This can give young people the wrong impression about reality. Young people seeing these perfect people on social media can lower their self-esteem and make them feel as if they're not as good as others. This can majorly affect someone's confidence in their future life.
Social media allows many people to cyberbully anonymously, which leads to younger people having depression and feel bad about themselves. Younger people usually don't report cyberbullying to a parent, which causes them to be clueless about their child's situation.
There are a couple of solutions when it comes to the issues of social media. One of the solutions is to educate children when they are younger on social media and the effects of social media. Children need to learn how to use social media in the right way when they are young so they do not abuse it when they are older.
Another way is to let people know that the things they see on social media are not always reality, and they are not any less than the people that they see on social media.
Moving on for that, we're going to be talking about the title race and in the Premier League. Over to James.
I was watching the Man United versus Man City match yesterday, and Man United did not perform how they should be performing.
I don't think Mourinho is getting the best out of the United players at the moment.
I think for the amount of money Mourinho has invested in the team, we should be getting better performances out of the United players.
If you look at the top 3 teams, they all have attacking play, where United are way too defensive.
I think at this moment Man City are the team that look better and more solid in their performances than anyone else.
I think Liverpool are Man City's biggest threat because Man City have better quality and skill in some aspects of the pitch.
However, I think teams might learn how to defend against City's style of play.
If Liverpool focus on the league and forget about the Champions League, I say they would have a good chance of winning the Premier League.
You never know, they still could win the league.
I don't think you should forget about Chelsea. They have a good manager and Hazard, a world-class player.
However, Man City will win the Premier League. End of.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Now it's time for our third segment, conspiracy theories. Over to Matthew.
Conspiracy theories are, as defined by Google, a belief that some covert but influential organisation is responsible for an unexplainable event. In the fake followers of conspiracy, some people believe that celebrities buy their followers. Guys, do you want to explain?
Social media influencers are mainly accused of this as they can go from 40,000 likes to nearly 1 million in a matter of months.
In a recent video by Shane Dawson, he met up with makeup artist James Charles to visit a website that takes the Twitter handle of celebrities and calculates the percentage of real followers they have.
Some results include James Charles, a popular makeup artist who had 98% real followers. Shane Dawson, a YouTube comedian who had 87% real followers.
Kim Kardashian, a reality TV star who had 55%. Lady Gaga, a pop singer, 43% of her followers were real. And Selena Gomez, another pop singer who had 81% real followers.
Okay, thanks guys. Next we're talking about the Mandela effects. Alison?
The Mandela effect began in 2013 when Nelson Mandela died, and many people stood by the fact that he didn't actually died in prison in the 1980s. But a lot of people think that that's just because they weren't listening properly, but it started a discussion, and a lot of other similar things have come up, which they describe with the title The Mandela Effect. And Cian's going to tell you about more of those.
Another example of the Mandela effect is the confusion with a book name known as The Bernstein Bears. A huge portion of people thought it was actually called The Bernstein Bears, with an E instead of an A near the end of Stein.
Moving on to our final topic, we'll be talking about dead rappers and their effects. Over to Fergal.
When X died, it left many people heartbroken, and many rappers were shocked to hear about the news. What do you think, Callum?
I think it's terrible that a young man died so young.
Yeah, but other rappers died young from overdoses, such as Lil Peep and Mac Miller.
Rappers were always dying from a young age, such as Tupac and Biggie Smalls, but these died from gang-related actions, supposedly.
All these rappers dying had an effect on other rappers like Lil Pump, Lil Xan and Lil Uzi Vert. These were all doing drugs, but they've stopped most except weed. How do you feel about this, Fergal?
It's a shame, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding X's death, but at the end of the day, no 20-year-old person deserves to die.
Yeah, it was a horrible way to end his career and his life.
To end it all off, lots of rappers have made songs for X, such as Juice WRLD and Lil Wayne. Thanks for listening.
This has been Fergal and Matthew.
I hope you enjoyed this show. Goodbye.
Hello everyone and welcome to 5 Peas in a podcast.
Today we're going to be talking about Generation Z, 9/11, sports movies and the Mandela effect.
Let's go to our first segment, Generation Z.
Hello, welcome. I love Generation Z because I have children in Generation Z who I love so much that I just want to learn more. So the first topic today is social media. I love social media because I get to research all sorts of recipes for my apple pie on there. But there are lots of effects of social media on Generation Z. Megan, please tell us more about this.
Today I'll be talking about the effects of social media on Generation Z. We believe that it is harder for millennials to deal with the new form of social media because millennials were introduced to social media at a later age, while Generation Z were introduced to social media at a much earlier age and so have developed with using social media in their day-to-day lives. So they have developed coping mechanisms to deal with social media. But this has also affected their mental health as there has been a high increase in depression in our generation.
Yes, thank you, Megan. I also think that children nowadays are very mature in their ways because of social media. What do you think about this, Rebecca?
Nowadays, using social media, we're exposed to a lot more. For example, famine, wars, but also good things such as good things in the world. We are shown these through Instagram, Snapchat, Netflix, where they have very interesting documentaries that would be very recommendable. I think that this matures us as we are exposed to a lot in this world that our parents mightn't have been, so we understand it a lot better. It also makes us a lot more aware of danger in the world, such as murderers and rapists. It also means that this is a scarier world for our parents, as there's a lot more dangers for us now than there was in the past.
Yes, this is a very sad truth for the children of today, and their futures will be affected by this. You know, Generation Z have a huge dependence on their parents. Isn't that right, Laura?
Many people have grown up with false hope that they can buy their own houses when they're older, but when the sad reality is that they can't, because house prices have risen a lot over the past few years. Therefore, many millennials and Generation Z kids will end up living off their parents for longer. And it'll be sad because most people will never be able to afford their own house and will end up buying an apartment or renting for the rest of their life. And it'll be harder to move out when they're older because they're so dependent on their parents from being babied while they were younger.
Thanks for that, guys. And now 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Hi, this is Paul, and today I'm going to ask Luke a few questions about what happened on 9/11.
On 9/11, 2,996 people were killed and over 6,000 were injured. 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center. These attacks were organised by Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda.
Why is 9/11 considered a conspiracy theory?
The jet fuel wasn't hot enough to burn the steel. There was 41 minutes time for the Air Forces to help.
What happened to the 2 other planes?
One hit the Pentagon and one shot down before they hit the White House.
So now we'll never know whether it was a conspiracy or it was actually a terrorist attack.
Thanks, guys. And now we're going to run through why we like sports movies.
Hello and welcome to the 5 P's in a podcast section on why we all like sports films and what makes someone great.
What makes a sports movie so good?
A good sports movie is based on how a character in a movie goes through a transition within the storyline and how they go from a nobody to someone who is known throughout the world. An example of this would be Rocky Balboa in the film Rocky.
Thank you, Kieran. This one's for Adam. What's your favourite sports song and why?
Well, usually in a sports movie, whenever they play a song for it, it's during a montage of a training scene or towards the end, such as Karate Kid, they play the best over like the tournament, or in Rocky Balboa, whenever he's going through the most intense part of his training, they'll play a song. So for me, my favourite one is Gonna Fly Now from the first Rocky, because it's just, I think it's got a very inspiring beat, and the lyrics are kind of just about kind of pushing through and just working hard to get to a goal.
Last question, Rory. Pitch a sports movie, pick the sport, cast, genre and title.
The sport would be football, the cast would be Simon Peck, and the genre would be comedy.
Thanks for listening to our segment on what makes a good sports movie. Now, I was pretty sure we had something else scheduled, but I guess we're doing the Mandela effect.
Hi, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Simone, and we're here to talk to you today about the Mandela effect with a couple of our friends.
So, Simone, what is the Mandela effect?
Well, Dylan, proof of time travel, interference from an alternate reality, a glitch in the matrix, or just bad memory. We're here to unravel the mystery of the Mandela effect. Have you ever been convinced that something is in a particular way, only to discover you've remembered it all wrong? If so, you've experienced the phenomenon known as the Mandela effect. This form of collective misremembering of common events or details first emerged in 2010 when countless people on the internet falsely remembered Nelson Mandela was dead. It was widely believed that he had died in prison during the 1980s. In reality, he was freed in 1990 and had passed away in 2013, despite some people's claims they remember clips of his funeral on TV. After this, other examples started popping up all over the internet.
Wow, Simone, you really did your research. Well, I've heard of one about the Queen in Snow White, who actually said magic mirror on the wall, where myself and thousands of other people believed she says mirror, mirror on the wall.
Hi, my name is Ramona, and I've also heard one of the Monopoly Man. Millions of people remember him to have a monocle. Well, the truth is, he never did.
Interesting point, Mona. I'm Caitlin, and I'm here to talk about the popular chocolate bar Kit Kat. Many people remember the famous chocolate bar being spelled as KIT-KAT. In reality, there was never a hyphen.
Hiya, my name is Aisling, but that was a good point, Caitlin. But I want to ask you a question. In the original movie of Alice in Wonderland, the characters Tweedledee and Tweedledum, most people are convinced that they have propellers on their head when it's just a flag.
Hi, I'm Kira, and I have another interesting one. I'm going to talk about Skechers, a major shoe brand spelt Skechers, but millions of people around the world believe it's spelt with a T.
Wow, Dylan, there are so many examples of the Mandela effect.
I know, Simone. I was so shocked.
And that brings our segment to the end. Thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to 5 Peas in a podcast. I am Joe and he is Adam.
That is true.
Hello and welcome to the Teenage Life live from Maynooth Post-Primary School.
We are your hosts, Oisin and Derek.
Today we're going to be discussing the importance of sports,
Why music matters,
the soccer show,
and understanding YouTubers.
Now we're going on to our first segment, the importance of sports. What is your favourite sport?
My favourite sport is Gaelic football.
How about you?
My favourite sport is Gaelic football as well.
What do you enjoy about playing sport?
I enjoy playing sport because it gets me fit.
I enjoy playing sport because you get to be with your friends.
How many sports do you play?
I play 2 sports, Gaelic football and hurling.
I play one sport, Gaelic football.
What position do you play in Gaelic football?
I play in midfield.
I play half forward.
Did somebody influence you to start playing sports?
My brother and dad influenced me to start playing football.
And you?
It was my dad.
Cool.
Have you won any leagues or gotten any trophies in Gaelic football?
Yeah, I won the under-14 Féile B.
I won the under-16 Division 2 and the minor champions earlier this year.
Well, that's pretty good. Why do you think sports are important for everyone to take part in?
I think sports are important for people our age because exercise keeps you healthy and you can make lots of new friends from playing sports.
Thanks for that, guys. Now we're on to why music matters.
So, why did you choose this topic?
We chose the topic of music because we feel like everyone can relate to it. And whether you like rock, pop, country or rap, there's something for everyone.
What artist do you think most influences you?
That's a difficult question, but I'd say the rapper Watsky has an interesting worldview that I can relate to.
I relate to Billie Eilish a lot as a person. I like how she really expresses herself with her music and how she sings about her views on society nowadays.
I really enjoy listening to Ariana Grande's music, and I think she's a great influence as she's such a strong woman who has experienced pain and hardships, and she still keeps going and encouraging others to help themselves.
I think that Dodie Clark influences me the most through her music because she sings heartfelt lyrics about her life that I think everyone can relate to.
What line from a song has stuck with you and why?
The line, "If teardrops could be bottled, there'd be swimming pools filled by models," from the song Lovely by Billie Eilish is such a powerful line. It really shows how hard it is to grow up nowadays as society sets such a high standard for girls and how these standards are unrealistic.
Wow.
The song Tiny Glowing Screens Part 2 by Watsky is very thought-provoking, but the line that really stuck with me was, "We live in a house made of each other, and if that sounds strange, that's because it is." In a song that deals with the importance of each individual and kind of implies that we don't matter, this line reinforces the weight that 7 billion people have.
Do you think it's hard to be an artist in the music industry these days?
I think it must be excruciatingly difficult to survive as an artist in the music industry, as anything they do is in the public eye, under constant scrutiny and judgment. They also have to try to be unique and stand out from all the other artists, while still remaining popular, and maybe not even being allowed to produce their choice of music if they're stuck in a record deal.
Finally, why does music matter to you?
I think music is extremely important in today's society because it helps to give people a voice and opinion on matters. For example, music from artists like Bob Marley gave minorities a voice because he sang about discrimination in America. Music also allows people to express themselves through the sound and lyrics of many artists.
I also think music is very important as it lightens and lifts people's mood. For example, if someone is having a bad day and listens to their favourite song or artist, the message of the song could help them feel like they're understood and not alone.
I think music is an incredible way of honouring cultures and keeping traditions alive, as music is a central part of many cultures. For example, Irish music is very prominent in Irish culture, and most children would learn Irish music at some point, and it's the same in other cultures. Music really matters to honour these traditions and cultures.
For me, music illustrates the world around me. It's a way to make sense of things and show that there is beauty in everything. Music lends us a voice and transports us to different places. That is why music matters.
Some very interesting points. Thanks for that. Now on to the soccer show. Which team do you think is the best in the world?
I feel like that Barcelona is one of the best teams in the world because they have a strong manager and a good team.
I agree with that.
In your opinion, who do you think the best player in the world is?
I think Messi is the best player in the world because he is always scoring goals and giving assists to his teammates.
Who do you think is going to score the most goals in the Premier League?
I think that the player is going to score more goals in the Premier League is Aguero because he's the best striker in the league.
What is your favourite team?
Chelsea, as they work well together and have a really strong team. Who is your favourite player?
My favorite player is Lionel Messi because I think he's amazing and he's great at scoring goals and is very supportive of his teammates.
Who should win the Golden Ball?
I think Lionel Messi should win the Golden Ball because he's always doing an amazing job in the field.
Do you think the Golden Ball is unfair?
No, I think it's fair, but I think they should do a prize for each position, as one Golden Ball for a striker, another one for a midfielder, another one for a defender, and another one for a goalkeeper.
Now for our final segment, Understanding YouTubers. What YouTubers do you like the most?
My favourite YouTuber is James Charles. He's my favourite because I like the way he does his makeup and I like his techniques. He's very inspirational as he's a boy, which makes boys that are into makeup not afraid to be themselves.
Nice.
My favourite YouTuber is TGF Bro. They are my favourite because they are so funny and all of their videos make me laugh. It is kind of annoying though because they aren't really consistent with their videos.
I agree with Tina and Liam. I like watching James Charles and TGF Pro. I also love watching Keenan and JC. I find them really funny and they have exciting videos.
My favourite YouTuber is James Charles as well because I like his techniques. I agree with Tina and what she said about James being a boy and doing makeup. I think he's inspirational.
Do you think that YouTubers deserve money for posting YouTube videos?
I do think they deserve money. They need to pay for lights, cameras and the props that they use in videos. However, I don't think they deserve as much as they get.
Yes, they deserve as much as they get because they put time in their videos and they have expensive cameras.
Is being a YouTuber a job?
Yes, I think being a YouTuber is a job because the YouTubers have to spend hours editing and making videos and they get paid for it.
I think being a YouTuber is a job as they put in a lot of time, effort and money into their videos.
Cool.
Do you think that YouTubers are good or bad influences on young people?
I think YouTubers can be both good and bad. There are a lot of different YouTubers out there. There are many YouTubers that are role models and are good influencers on young people. However, there are YouTubers that have a much younger following and they act inappropriately.
I do and don't think they're a good influence. They're not because some of them wear inappropriate clothes and act bad, but some are all about positivity.
There's good and bad YouTubers, so my opinion varies.
I think there's both good and bad influences on YouTube. I think some YouTubers can be inappropriate, but others can be very positive.
Well, that's all from us, folks. live from Maynooth Post Primary School. This has been the Teenage Life with your hosts, Oisin and Derek.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Hello and welcome to the 4FM podcast.
We're your hosts, Cathal and Adrian. Today we're going to be doing pet peeves, what sports we play, the truth, and unpopular opinions. And now to the first segment, pet peeves.
Do you have any sporting pet peeves?
Yeah, when someone passes you the ball and it's a terrible ball and you end up getting blamed for the bad pass because you can't deal with it.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve is bad manners. Like, you're always, when you're younger and you're brought up, you're always told, like, what are the magic words and stuff. And then when you're in restaurants or leaving a bus, you never thank the bus driver or the waiter. And other things like being mean to waiters or clicking your fingers at them or being on your phone while you're at the dinner table. Just little things, they get me going.
Tara, what boils your blood?
Something that boils my blood is people who pretend to be something they're not. I feel strongly about this as I have friends that have boyfriends or girlfriends, and I can see how different they act in front of their friends compared to their partner. I feel people should be themselves and not change for other people.
Connor, what can't you stand?
Attention seekers, when people do certain things for attention or sympathy to get it from either a certain group of people or an individual.
Chloe, what makes you mad?
My biggest pet peeve is loud eaters. I find it frustrating and annoying when people chew with their mouth open. I also don't understand when they say they can't chew with their mouth closed, because in my eyes it's not that hard to chew with your mouth closed.
Nisha, is there anything your friends do that annoys you?
My biggest pet peeve is when someone can't be happy for you. I feel like people are constantly trying to bring you down to make themselves feel better. Their insecurities prevent them from seeing how happy you are. People are very quick to judge, and this can really affect people's happiness.
Now, for our next segment, what sports we play.
What sport do you play, and for how long have you been playing?
I play Olympic handball, and I've been playing for just under 2 years now.
I do parkour, free run. I've been doing it seriously for about a year and a half now.
Who influenced your sports?
One of my friends in 5th year, he was in 3rd year at the time. He was trying to form a school team for handball, and he convinced me and a few others to come to training, and we were hooked from the start.
I was doing gymnastics, and I found parkour interesting because there was less rules and complete freedom to move however you want. So I suppose I got into it myself.
So Derek, we know you competed in the Irish Special Olympics. How did you do, and what are you planning for the future?
I did 100 meter run and javelin. I got a gold and silver medal. I would like to get into other competitions. My club is raising money to go to see Abu Dhabi this year.
How does sports benefit you?
Sports can give players a sense of community and help them make new friends. Playing sports also helps keep you physically fit and is a fun way to stay active.
I am more physically fit than I was before. I can take on bigger, harder challenges, and I'm more confident with myself. I think more people should play sports, and especially individual sports like parkour or calisthenics, for people who are not as fond of team sports.
That's it for what sports we play. Now on to the truth.
Why do people believe in conspiracy theories?
Because they want to believe in something that they don't understand, and because people want to believe in something that's not the majority's vote.
The Walt Disney conspiracy theories, tell us about them.
There's a conspiracy theory about Walt Disney's body being frozen.
The Walt Disney body was created though, and the daughter said that the theory is false.
And finally, is the moon a hologram?
Yes, the Americans invented the moon. It's common logic. All facts point towards it.
Also, Elon Musk parked his car on the moon.
All very valid points. Now onto the final segment, unpopular opinions.
Pineapple on pizza. Do you agree with it?
I don't mind if other people like it, but it's not for me.
I don't think the texture of pineapple and pizza mix, so I wouldn't eat it.
I think it's delicious.
I'd eat it if it was there.
I like pineapple on pizza, but not if there's too much pineapple.
Do you have phones on the table at dinner?
It's okay if you're eating alone, but if you're with others, it's a bit rude.
If you're like eating with your family, I would never have my phone out.
If you're with your family, you should take the time to talk and have a chat.
I don't think it really matters if everyone's on their phone.
No, you shouldn't be on your phone because it's bad manners.
Savoury crepes. Do you like them?
Only sweet food should be on pancakes.
I don't put savoury things on pancakes, but I don't mind if other people would.
I don't like the idea. If you're going to have a treat, have a proper treat and indulge and have a sweet pancake.
I don't think it really matters, whatever you like on it.
No, it's disgusting.
Well, that's all from us folks from the 4FM podcast.
We've been your hosts, Adrian and Cahill.
If you want more information, go to createschool.ie.
Thanks for listening.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 4G Experience. We're your hosts, Ellen
and Erin. Today we will be discussing money in football,
YouTube throughout the years,
the mysteries of life,
and what Christmas is to us.
Now on to our first segment, money in football.
How do you feel money has changed in football?
Money has changed people's feelings towards the sport. It has made people's passion for the sport change to a passion for money and fame.
And what kind of pay do the players get?
Well, players are being paid up to 500,000 per week, even if they don't play the game. I feel this has changed players' mindset, and they pay more attention to how much they are being paid than actually being passionate and dedicated to your team.
And what is the difference in money spent by clubs now in comparison to 10 years ago?
About 10 years ago, you would have heard of clubs as big as Man United making record signings of 13 million for the highest quality players at the time. But now a team can spend 65 million on a mediocre player who may not even get started. Cristiano Ronaldo, considered to be one of the greatest players of our generation, was bought by Manchester United for under 20 million from Sporting Lisbon.
In 2017, Neymar was bought for 222 million euros by PSG from Barcelona. He hasn't yet proved to be up to the standard of Ronaldo. Neymar's teammate Kylian Mbappe was bought for 180 million from AS Monaco. At the time of the purchase, he was 18 years of age.
Oh, okay. And what changes have happened in transfers due to the money being spent and offered by clubs?
Players such as Tevez and Oscar moved from teams such as Chelsea to play for clubs in China because of the money being offered, which shows that all these players care about this money.
That's great, thank you. Now on to our next segment, YouTube culture throughout the years.
How do you think YouTube has changed over the years, and how has the content changed as well?
Back when YouTube was founded, it was a creative outlet and a way of expressing yourself, whereas now it's just a way of making money.
What do you think about YouTubers being controversial, for example, Tana Mojo or Shane Dawson?
I think a lot of the time they do it to get more publicity, so that like if something big happens, more people will hear about it and want to watch, so they'll just get bigger even though it's a bad thing. So when they do controversial stuff, it makes it more famous.
Do you think YouTubers are influencing their young followers in a bad way?
Well, there used to be videos of like people doing lifestyle videos, and now they're like videos of Jake Paul setting his house on fire, and like people really look up to him for, I don't know why, but yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, there's young impressionable kids watching someone that they look up to set their house on fire, or, you know, I feel like he's kind of manipulating them into buying his merch or doing, you know, like they're young kids, like, and they're a young audience, so they're watching someone tell them what to do, essentially.
It also, if they watch a lot of YouTube, they think like it's a good career path to go down. Like they want to be famous because of it, when that's not realistic at all.
And that was YouTube cultures throughout the years, and now on to the mysteries of life.
Conspiracy theories are really popular at the moment, especially the flat earth theory. What is the flat earth theory and what is your opinion on it?
The flat earth theory is the theory our earth isn't round like we're led to think. It's actually flat like a disc. I personally don't believe it, but I know Aisling has evidence for it and knows how it works.
Well, most of the evidence depends on who you're talking to. One of the most common points is that reality is exactly how we perceive it. The main thought is that we notice if it were round. For example, seeing slopes around us or something like that. Now, I bet some people are thinking, well, there's actual proof that the Earth is round. However, with these things, they deal with that logic by saying that we sometimes perceive things wrong, which can be quite ironic considering the main evidence for why they believe it.
That was very interesting. Is there any theories that have been around for a long time that is considered a classic?
The Mandela effect is known as the Mandela effect because many people claim to remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison instead of set free. Many people now remember having false memories.
Oh, what false memories are people experiencing?
Many people remember Pikachu having a black stripe on the tip of his tail. There was a kids show called the Bernstein Bears, but many people remembered the Bernstein Bears. There's evidence of this in a Simpson episode where Homer pronounced it Bernstein years after the show ended.
What was the first theory you have ever heard?
I used to believe in ghosts. At the time it was very convincing. I've had many experiences where I'd consider them as paranormal, but looking back on it now, I can explain them all through scientific and psychological reasoning.
I personally don't believe in ghosts, as I have never seen any evidence of them existing. I think it is an interesting idea, but I need proof.
What about people who've experienced paranormal activity?
It is possible that there are other factors at play here that cause this, such as either carbon monoxide poisoning, hysteria, or even eyesight problems.
All interesting theories. Now on to our final segment, what Christmas means to us.
When is it the right time to put up your Christmas decorations?
I think it all depends on when people think the Christmas season starts. Personally, we think that the end of November or the start of December is the perfect time to put up your Christmas decorations.
This allows people to have their decorations up for certain festive occasions such as the Late Late Toy Show or the start of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Is Christmas about being around family or getting presents?
For me, Christmas is one of the most important parts of the year, and you have to spend it with your family because most of the time you don't really get to see your family as they are normally in different countries or doing their own thing. So Christmas allows you to be all together at the same time.
Yeah, but it sometimes feels as though gifts can be more important than family. They definitely make Christmas more fun, but it often feels as though people are always comparing what they got with each other, especially on social media.
What makes Christmas fun?
I think that what makes Christmas fun is the build-up, like getting advent calendars, listening to Christmas music on Christmas FM and putting up decorations.
I think that meeting with your family and friends is what makes Christmas fun. After all, Christmas is about bringing everyone together. Also, being able to watch your favourite Christmas movies in your sitting room is always really fun.
Well, that's all from us at the 4G Experience.
We've been your hosts, Erin and Ellen. If you want more information, visit createschool.ie. Thanks for listening.
Hello, my sleepy sisters, and welcome to tonight's Somnolent podcast. Today's debate topic is going to be chocolate versus jellybeans. Rebecca will be representing the side of chocolate, and Cara will be representing the jellybean side.
Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about this tonight. I think that that chocolate is very better than Jellybeans, because you can get different types of chocolate with Jellybean, with Jellybeans you can only get one type. And the way chocolate melts in your mouth, it's a good feeling.
That's a fair point, Rebecca, but I have to disagree. I really feel passionately on this topic. The fact of the matter is, jelly beans are tastier. The outside is hard and the inside is soft and juicy. Thanks for listening. Good night.
Well, that was incredibly interesting. We're really grateful to you all for coming in. Now over to Greta for counting sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Welcome to our podcast, all of games related. We are your hosts, Oisin, Daniel, Ty. Now, we have interesting topics to talk about in this podcast. We have 2 guests to talk to. Those guests are politicians who think games are bad for children and they should stop playing them. And we will be trying to convince those 2 to see if it's different. And if we have time after, we'll be talking about our personal preferences about games and games that came out this year. Now I'll be handing you over to Ty.
Alright, now we're going to be welcoming Tyrone Lannister and Luca Quinn. Now, what are your personal opinions and why do you not like gamings?
Well, I don't like games because I think it causes people to spend too much time indoors, especially children, when they should be spending time outside. And I also don't like it because children are playing violent games, and which is leading to more violence in their lives. So I'm just saying I don't think gaming is good, especially for children. I'm going to hand it over here to Luca.
It makes I find, in my opinion, I feel that gaming is bad for you because it makes your eyesight worse, and it also causes lack of interest in school, work. So people might come home from school, want to play Xbox or whatever it is, and don't do their homework. Then they go into school without their homework done. And in the older times, have you ever seen anybody playing Xbox? Albert Einstein didn't play Xbox. Maybe that's why he's intelligent. Thank you.
Well, I want to go back to Tyrone's point about children playing violent games and leading to violent stuff and all that. I think that's wrong because there hasn't been scientific proof of children being violent when they play violent games in their life, and I don't really agree with that point. Now, with your first point, I agree a bit more, but it's not like they have to be playing outside. They do have their own time playing inside and playing games in their own time.
Also, Albert Einstein did not have an Xbox or PlayStation.
Now, Daniel, do you have any point that you would like to say?
Just like to say, I acknowledge all your points. I think they're very valid. Absolutely, I think they can. Obviously not scientifically proven to damage kids, but I think definitely in the long term it is becoming a more frequent problem, and I just think there should be some kind of legislation maybe just to look at how the frequency of which kids are playing games and just may lead to a few problems in the future. Back to you.
Tyrone, I have a question for you. Do you think that there should be a time limit on games being spent?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because all these young kids nowadays, on their fancy Xboxes and all that, they're spending too much time. There should definitely be limits.
Do you have an Xbox or PlayStation?
I do not. No, I don't.
Would your children play any consoles or any type of video games?
Of course not.
I just want to say, like, when people play, like, on the Xbox, it's fine, like, for an hour or two. But if they play, like, all day, every day, I find it's like, you're here to learn. You're here to learn about life and in general, like, how are you meant to learn about life if you're just focusing on a game that's not real?
Now, to go back to your point, Luca, about children not having concentration in school, I do agree with that, but I don't agree with that at the same time. I don't agree with it because even if there are time limits on kids' games, they can only play for like an hour or an hour and a half or something like that of course they do have all the other time to do their homework, study, all that. Now, that's not for every kid, I know that and I understand, but there are those kids that, of course, don't have that have the time limit on their games. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I agree that there's some like people that like have time limits. It's just there's young kids playing like stuff they shouldn't be playing at their age, and I think it's affecting their future life.
Now, you said that kids are playing games that they shouldn't be. Is that the kid's fault or is that the parents' fault that they are doing that? Now, are you blaming the kid for playing that game or are you blaming the parent for buying that game for the kid?
It kind of depends who, like, obviously blaming the parent, because if they let their kid play it, obviously it's their fault. But also, if the kid isn't playing it without their parents' permission, then it's the kid's fault.
Alright. Now, I would like to ask both of you, has your opinion changed at all on games that are violent for kids, or is it the same for you?
It hasn't changed.
Luca, has it changed for you?
Nope.
Alright, well, that sums up for Luca and Tyrone. Thank you both for coming in. For the next segment, we are, for me, Daniel, and Ty, we'll be talking about our favourite and personal games. Ty, which game would you like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about Rainbow Six Siege.
Alright. Now, what would you like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about the new update that has come out for Rainbow Six Siege.
Which update is that? I can't recall, sorry.
I can't remember either.
Alright, now Daniel, have you played Rainbow Six Siege?
I haven't, no.
Alright, well, I'll give you a basic rundown of it. It's a 5v5 team deathmatch of a defending and attacking team. The attackers will have to kill the enemy team or do other stuff to win the round. The defending team has to defend their objective or kill the enemy team or let the time run out. And there are different people called operators, and the operators have different abilities. Now, Ty, would you like to name any of your few favorite ones?
My few favorite operators would be Mira, who has a mirror-sized window that she could attach onto walls and see through and kill enemies with.
Alright, nice one. Well, my favorite one is My favorite one is Rook. He's able to put down his armor plates that increase your survivability. You can take one more bullet and all that. Would you like that? Would you, Daniel? In your opinion, would you like to play this game or not?
Absolutely. Seems to be interesting, and seems to be something that's popular around the area. It seems to be. There's definitely a good incentive to play the game anyway. So yeah.
And Ty, how is your time playing Rainbow Six Siege? Do you play it a lot, or do you only play it certain times?
I'll probably play it on the weekends, maybe for an hour every night.
Alright, nice one. Do you play with anyone, or do you play by yourself?
I'll probably play mostly with some friends, occasionally by myself, but that's okay.
Alright, that will be our end of this podcast. Thank you for listening. It's been very interesting. Thank you, and goodbye.
Hi, welcome to our podcast today. We are going to play Would You Rather with Kieran. My first question today is for Kieran. Kieran, would you rather die of a fire or drowning? I would like an answer.
I'd rather get burnt alive. Thank you very much.
And why?
Because I just wouldn't want to drown. You know yourself, like.
Good point, Kieran. Thank you.
I say that'd be terrible.
Let's hear from Izzy's point of view.
I'd rather burn in fire.
Why?
Because drowning is longer.
Okay, fair enough. Would you rather lose your wallet or your phone, David?
My phone. It's more money.
Thank you, David. Okay, Kay, what about you?
I'd rather lose my I'd rather lose my phone.
Following on to the next question, would you rather be super bald or super hairy, Kieran?
I'd rather be, super hairy, yourself, like.
Why?
Because it's just very, super bald isn't very manly, yourself, like. It's more of a woman's trait, yourself, like.
Okay, that's enough, Kieran. Thank you. Next question. Would you rather have teeth as nails or nails as teeth, David?
Teeth as nails. Wait. Oh no. What's the question? Teeth as nails.
You said that first.
Next question. Would you rather not be able to talk or not able to see? Izzy?
Not able to talk.
Why?
Because if you can see, you can do sign language as well.
Okay. Next question. Would you rather have no legs or no arms, Kira?
No arms.
Why?
Because then you'd be able to walk.
Okay. And for the last question, would you rather not be able to... Wait, would you rather be able to read minds or teleport, Kate?
Rather read minds, because it'd be interesting to see what people think.
And that's it for us today. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Gaffney Duff Show, live at Maynooth Post Primary. We're your hosts, Connor
and Ashley.
And today we will be discussing, would you rather,
does the colour of food matter,
music,
and is sports sexist?
Now for our first segment, would you rather?
Would you rather die from a fire or drowning?
I'd personally pick fire over drowning because I don't know if you've ever choked on water, but like you're constantly coughing, so if you know you're gonna die, you're gonna be like holding your breath, and can you imagine just like, I think it'd be super overwhelming. Whereas if you were in a fire, the flames and the smoke, it would when you would conk out just before you would actually burn, you wouldn't actually feel the burning because you'd just be out cold. So yeah.
And Anna?
I'd pick drowning because I think it would be a lot less painful, and if you were in a fire, I think the flames would get you before the smoke.
Would you rather lose all your memories or never make new ones?
I'd rather lose all my memories just because like I'm only 15 and there's still so much memories that I can make rather than like thinking about the ones that I've already had.
And now over to Orla.
I'd pick the same answer because as we're only 15, there's so many more bigger things to come in life, so I'd rather remember those memories instead of the ones in the past.
Would you rather be rich and depressed or poor and happy?
I'd rather be poor and happy because no matter what your situation is, if you're happy, then you're enjoying life and you're living it the way you want to live it. So yeah.
Interesting. And Anna, what do you think of that?
I'd rather be rich and depressed, as I feel if you have the money, you could train yourself to be happy by getting counselling.
Would you rather be super bald or super hairy?
I think I'd rather be super hairy because you could shave it off, and even if it grows back, you could shave it off if you were going somewhere, and then when you get home it'd grow back and there'd be no one around, so it'd be fine.
Thank you for that, Liam. Now Ellie.
I'd rather be bald because you can get your eyebrows tattooed on, you can get fake eyelashes, and you can get wigs, and you never have to shave your legs again.
Would you rather only listen to music or only watch any form of visual entertainment? Example, Netflix.
I'd choose only listen to music just because I listen to music so much. I start my day listening to music, and I don't think I could wake up in the morning and start my day just watching a Netflix movie. I know Ellie does, but I definitely couldn't.
Okay. Thank you, Amy.
I choose visual entertainment just because you can learn so many different things from just watching different documentaries or different genres of films and different TV series and things like that. So I find visual entertainment more interesting.
Would you rather have nails as teeth or teeth as nails?
I kind of find this tough because if you had teeth or nails as teeth, I don't know if you've ever had a hangnail, but can you imagine that in your mouth and just if you're eating something and if it was just kind of flipping around, could you actually bite anything? I don't know. Oh God, I don't know. And then you could also disguise, if you had nails or teeth as nails, you could, I suppose, wear gloves all the time, but I'm not really sure. Maybe probably just teeth as nails.
And finally to Orla.
I'd rather have teeth as nails just because you can paint over the teeth and just disguise them as nails and just hide them from everyone else, whereas you can't hide your teeth from people.
Thanks for that, guys. Now on to our next segment. Does the colour of food matter? Do you prefer green or red apples?
Red apples are by far superior because they have a great taste for eating, and green apples are too bitter to eat when they're not cooked.
I prefer green apples, and the bitter taste really adds to the experience of eating them, and they are better for tarts and other baked goods.
Thank you, Matthew. Yellow or green bananas?
Yellow bananas are better as they have a better texture and are very good and has a very good balanced taste.
I much prefer green bananas as they are harder, but they also have a much greater, sweeter taste.
Okay, white milk or dark chocolate?
I much prefer white chocolate as it has a creamier texture and the flavor is to die for.
I prefer milk chocolate because I believe it's a good mix between the creamy flavor of white chocolate and the sharp flavor of dark chocolate.
I prefer dark chocolate as it has a rich, powerful flavor that overpowers the other two.
White or brown bread?
I prefer white bread as it has a better taste and it is the best kind to have toasted.
I prefer brown because it is healthier and it also fills you quicker.
What's the best Haribo from the Star Mix?
The best, I think, is the rings as they have a better taste, but you can also have fun messing around with them.
I prefer the Coke bottles because they taste like Coca-Cola.
Is well done better than any other steak?
Well done is better as you can remove all the risk of illness or disease and it still tastes great.
Medium rare as there is more juice from the steak and it's not overcooked.
What's the verdict on the colour of food? Does it matter?
No, the color doesn't matter because the taste is the thing that I care about the most.
The color does matter a lot, as if everything was a weird color, I wouldn't eat it.
The texture is the most important. If it's a weird texture, I'm not going to eat it.
Thanks for that. Now on to our next segment, Musicast.
Rap music, is it any good?
I honestly think rap musicians are talentless, most of them, because all they do is just talk a story, and it's most of the times it's just no meaning behind it, and it's all auto-tuned, and the music is mostly just percussion, nothing like musical about it.
Thank you, Abdul. Scott?
I have to disagree with Abdul there. I think that rappers are very talented because most of the raps have a meaning and a story behind it, and like some songs out there are just kind of the same stuff repeated.
Pop music, is it all the same?
In my opinion, pop music is all the same. You hear it on the radio and it's a bit irritating, to be honest.
Thanks for that, Sean VDM.
I disagree with that. I don't think all pop music is the same. They're all like made by different people and they all sound different. And if they were on the radio, like they wouldn't be bad.
Strong view there from Daniel.
Why is music so important in culture?
I think music is so important in culture because everyone listens to it and it brings people together.
I think the music people listen to is important in culture because it defines who you are as a person.
Does music change the mood of a movie?
I think music does change the mood of a movie because in sad scenes there you always play sad music to get the audience emotional and, you know.
Thanks for that.
I think movies without music would be boring. Like music adds like a new dimension to the movie, in my opinion.
Agree with that.
Well, that's it for Music Cast. Now into our final segment, is sports sexist? Why is there less attendance at women's games?
They don't have big sponsors and their matches are not televised. This leads to a reduction in people watching the sport and as a result a loss in interest.
Why in America is ladies soccer bigger than men's?
The women players are branded alongside the men's and young girls aspire to be them. They also start encouraging ladies soccer at a young age and they are given the same resources as the young boys are. In Ireland a few years ago, the government put money into ladies boxing and as a result of this, Katie Taylor won a gold Olympic medal. I think if we put more money into women's sport, we could have the same results as America.
Why in most sports do women get paid significantly less?
Women get paid less because the clubs make hardly any money with the jersey sales, ticket sales and sponsorship from the women teams. If Juventus make millions from jersey sales from Ronaldo, then in my opinion he deserves to be rewarded. And for our final question, we'll go over to the Gaffney. Are men actually better than women in sport?
Obviously, their bodies are built differently, so men could be physically stronger, but talent-wise there's no difference. For example, in tennis, women and men are the exact same talent, skill level and fitness. They are given the same prize money, so they automatically have the same level of competitiveness. So although men's bodies may lead them to be physically stronger than women at first, this does not mean they're better at sport.
Thanks, folks. That's all from us here at the Duffney Gaff Show. We've been your hosts, Connor and Aisling.
If you would like to get more info, go to createschool.ie.
Thanks for listening.
Hello, and welcome to the MEC podcast, live from Maynooth, County Kildare, Ireland. My name is Lily. And my name is Sophia. And today we have an action-packed show featuring sports, film, TV, conspiracy theories. Whoa, looking forward to that. But first, we have a discussion on veganism. Are you a vegan, Sophia? No, but let's hear more about it. Take it away, guys.
Hey guys, Jack Crawley here, and I'm going to be talking to Gabrielle about veganism. Gabrielle, if we didn't eat animals, they would quickly overpopulate the planet and most likely starve to death. What's your view on that?
This is untrue because animals don't just reproduce, they die. They would die of natural causes and wouldn't suffer.
Okay, and on the same topic of animals, if we didn't milk cows, their udders would explode and they would die.
This is also untrue because baby cows drink the milk and that's how it's supposed to be. Veganism isn't there to stop this, it's to stop the inhumane suffering that we cause on animals.
Okay, Gabrielle, thank you. Next point. Humans are meant to eat meat. Humans have the ability to consume other animals' flesh. Is that for no reason, or what's the reason?
We all have the ability to eat other flesh if we really want to, but that's inhumane. Animals eat other animals because they need. Of course, that would not be nice, but at the end of the day, there are millions of jobs for millions of people. Another point I'd like to say is about global warming. Livestock is responsible for 65% of all human-related emissions of nitrous oxide. This is a greenhouse gas with 216 times the global warming potential of carbon dioxide and which stays in the atmosphere for 150 years.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabrielle. I hope you have a very vegan day.
Thanks for that, Jack.
Next we have our film and TV segment.
Over to you guys.
Thanks, guys. Today we're going to be talking about A Star is Born, starring Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. How did you feel about Lady Gaga's acting, Cara?
I thought it was shocking that she could act because I've only ever seen her singing, so I've never seen her in movies, so I'd like to see her in future films. And I thought she was really relatable in the film because someone related to her died before one of the scenes, but she still went in and acted it, which I thought made it more relatable.
Wow. What was your favourite song and why?
I'd say my favourite song was Shallow because of the deep meaning and how it showed the development of Lady Gaga's character in the film.
Would you recommend this movie to others?
Yes, I definitely recommend this movie to others because it was a beautiful story with great memorable songs. I thought it left a lasting impression on the viewers.
Okay, that's great. And now we're going to be talking about Bohemian Rhapsody starring Rami Malek. Would you recommend these movies to others, Annie?
Yes, I definitely would because I thought it was great. I think it's very enjoyable whether you be a Queen fan or not. I think it's just a great movie to go see and very entertaining.
Do you think the movie portrayed Queen's story well?
Yes, I think it definitely did because it offered an interesting insight into Freddie Mercury's life that most people would never have known and never seen before. But not just Freddie, I think Queen in general, the other artists in the band as well.
What did you think of Rami Malek as Freddie?
I thought he was an amazing performance. I think he's a serious Oscar contender for this year and definitely the prosthetic teeth made him very convincing.
Which movie did you think was better, A Star is Born or Bohemian Rhapsody?
Personally, I would say that Bohemian Rhapsody was a more enjoyable film because I was familiar with the Queen songs before the film, but I wasn't familiar with the Star is Born songs, which made the film more enjoyable.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Who's your favourite celebrity this year?
That would have to be between Anne, Fleur and James from the Vamps because I think that Anne is really brave going on the show with her autism and how she talks openly about it is really good for people with autism around the world.
Do you think Noel will be a good addition to the show?
Yes, he'll add more flair to the camp.
How do you feel about Anne's replacement?
I don't think that Dec and Holly have very good chemistry, so I think either they should have had Ant and Dec or Philip and Holly. I just don't think that it works very well.
Okay, thank you, Carl, on that one.
Hi, Lily here again with the sports section. Let's talk about women in sport and the differences between men and women.
So how about we start with soccer? The first major difference I can think of is the pay gap between men and women.
Yes, in the last World Cup, the winning women's team received $2 million for the entire team, whereas the men's winning team received $2 million for each player. It makes me sick to my stomach to see the women's team receive significantly less than the men for doing the exact same job.
That's a good point. Now what about the differences in GAA?
It's shocking to see how low support is for women's GAA in both TV channels such as RT and in the stadium. 51,000 showed up to the Women's All-Ireland, whereas in the men's there wasn't a single ticket left.
Also, in women's matches they always play 10 minutes shorter than men's, which there is no reason for.
Whoa, this is ridiculous. What about rugby?
There are significant differences in the wages of men and women in rugby, and women don't receive as many sponsorships. Women don't even play in the Aviva in both soccer and rugby.
Yeah, they play in much smaller stadiums such as Donnybrook, which only hold no more than 2,000 people.
Right, let's move on to a lighter topic, which is the general sports news.
Martin O'Neill has resigned, for those of you who didn't know. He was the head coach of the Irish soccer team. Who do we think should replace him? There's rumours going around saying that Mick McCarthy might replace him. He's proved us before, so who'd suit the role?
I agree. He'll bring back experience and a winning spirit because of past achievements with him.
We can't forget to mention Ireland's historical win against the All Blacks. It's been exactly 114 years since we beat them. We beat them with a score of 16-9. It was a tense match, but we could have gone either way. But we're proud that they won it in the end. This is promising for the 2019 World Cup and also leads us to the question, will Joe Smith stay with the Irish team after the World Cup? But if he doesn't, who should take his place?
I feel a previous player like Brian O'Driscoll or Paul O'Connell would be suitable for the job because they were tremendous leaders when they were captains. But will they ever fill the boots of Joe Schmidt?
Well, that's the question we're all asking.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Thank you very much, and now it's discussion of the moon landing. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Connor. Today we'll be talking about the moon landing. As you know, on July 16, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon, followed by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Many think that this is fake, so we'll discuss. Starting with Aisling. Aisling, what do you think?
Well, I'm conflicted between the two views. Both sides are very strong points and they're very believable. I do think that the Americans have strong motives for faking the landing. Number one, the race with the Russians was on. It was during the Cold War, and there were concerns that Russians were going to build a missile base on the moon. And I believe the Americans would have done anything to prevent that, including faking a moon landing. Especially after JFK's speech in 1961, he stated that they would have landed on the moon within 10 years. There's also a lot of photographic evidence showing that the moon landing was fake, such as shadows facing different ways, and the only logical explanation for that is if there was two different light sources, which there wouldn't have been if it was on the moon. There only would have been one, which was the sun. And then again, the flag waving, which also suggests it was in a film. It was in a film studio, as there is no wind in space. Then again, I see how people think this conspiracy theory is rubbish, as there would have been too many people involved in the secrecy if it was fake. I believe someone would have slipped up or something would have leaked out.
That's very interesting. Now on to Eva.
Well, personally, I believe that the moon landing is real, and following on from what Ashley was saying about people keeping the secret for so long, I think that with the amount of people working on this project, it would have been virtually impossible for no one to have let anything slip. Think of all the workers, their families, and this was, 50, 60 years ago? Someone must have let something slip, which is why I think that there's no way this could have been fake. Everything just seems to add up that no one said anything on the contrary.
Personally, I lean more towards the moon landing being faked. I see that point, but you can't let that stop you from seeing the evidence that's been put forward, such as the flag waving with no air on the moon. There's no argument against it, there is no air on the moon. NASA's excuse for this was that the flag was rolled up and crumpled, etc. But it was clearly waving in many pictures or videos. There's also the point that there were no stars in the sky.
logically, if you're standing on the moon in outer space, you'd be able to see stars very clearly from them.
Well, going against your point there, Georgia, about the stars, I think because of the way that cameras work, it would have been impossible to have a clear image of Neil Armstrong and the stars at the back with how cameras let in light and all. Not enough light would have been let in to capture the stars and to still have Neil Armstrong in it clearly.
That's fair enough, but there's also many pictures of rocks in space with letters imprinted on them. It's a very clear sea, trying to show the right placement so that people can put the rocks and everything back in the right space for the cameras. There's also a picture of a stage light reflecting on the helmet, which cannot really be argued.
That's all very interesting. Now, Aisling, does this change your points in any retrospect?
Well, I still have mixed views because both sides of the conspiracy theory are very valid and they're both believable. My last question is though, how come no one has gone back to the moon to prove that they were there in the first place? Since the moon is so much closer to Earth than Mars, and the Americans are focusing so much on reaching Mars, why are they adamant to reach Mars rather than go back to the moon and prove that they were there in the first place? Think about how much we have evolved regarding technology and knowledge about space. It's been nearly 50 years, and think of all the technology. It would be much easier and much cheaper to reach the moon now rather than 50 years ago.